Hello everybody, my name is Oxlo Session, and welcome to part 3 of my Combining Weapons series. Please go watch part 1 and 2 for context, and without further ado, let's get right into Scout's Secondary. Alright, first off, it's going to be a pistol. Every time you shoot someone and land a hit, you get 3 health back. Nothing too complex there. Also, you have a 15% faster firing speed, so you fire this quickly. Pretty cool. If you want exact numbers, instead of firing every 0.15 seconds, it's every 0.135 seconds. So you can heal even faster with this. And where stock would be doing 18 damage at this range, it actually does 15% more damage. So it does 21 damage at this range. So the default damage of stock is 15. 15% more is 17. Still, 15% more damage is pretty effective. Also, your jump is 25% higher when you're holding it. Great for mobility. Very fun. All of your attacks are guaranteed to mini crit. Just pretend that was a pistol, okay? But also, all of your attacks mark you for death for 5 seconds. So stock does 15 damage. With the 15% more, that's 17 damage. And since it always mini crits, that's going to be doing 23 damage with each shot. Oh, and also all of your attacks inflict mad milk. You combine that with the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol, you get 15 health per hit, and since you're doing more damage and you're always mini critting, I'm going to calculate this. You're doing 22 damage per shot, and you get 3 health per shot, and your first shot coats your enemy in mad milk. So your next shot will, instead of giving you 3 health, it will give you 17 health. That's really good. 17 health per shot. You have a hit scan weapon that inflicts mad milk. I mean, I can't be complaining. Oh, gee willikers, I sure do wish there isn't a stat that just completely ruins this weapon. Well, just like Spy's primaries, all wanting to nerf damage and firing speed, all of Scout's pistols, all 2 of them, 25% smaller clip size and 60% smaller clip size. That adds up to 85% smaller. So with stock having a clip size of 12, that brings it down to 2. So you shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, reload. It's ruined now. It's been demoted to a support tool, except it always does like really good damage. So like I said, since it is the Criticola, every time you shoot your pistol, you do get marked for death for 5 seconds. Oh, and it has no random crits. Is the gun too boring for you? Are you tired of shooting people and just being effective in general? Have you ever wanted to just throw your gun at someone? Well, now you can. At any time while holding this pistol, you can just alt fire and chuck it at someone's head, and it does 58 damage, and it mini crits, recharges over 6 seconds, causes bleeding for 8, but you can't pick it up after you throw it. It's just gone. Anyways, I think that's about it for the Pretty Wingers Flying Critamilka Cola. I think. Great name. Honestly, it's a solid weapon. You know, it does more damage, it shoots, and you can throw it at people and make them bleed, and make them take mad milk, and you get health on hit from both bullets and the flying guillotine throw. I just love that it's a gun that you can throw at people. That's great. I'm picturing like a bayonet on the end of just like a pistol, and then he chucks it at people like a kunai. Alright, you guys are probably getting tired of this ugly mug, so we're gonna be moving on to Soldier. This zany fellow has 2 types of secondaries. Anything that goes on his body, and anything that shoots things. I combined into 2 different weapons. So you guys know Righteous Bison is like synonyms for holy cow. I like to call the new shotgun that I've cooked up the Sinful Bull, because those are both antonyms, or opposites, of holy cow. Alright, so that was the boring Soldier secondary. Now we get to the good stuff. Good times for all. Something that I'd like to call Boots Banner. See, that's funny. Numero uno, gunboats. 60% less damage from rocket jumping. Soldier's primary would do 46 damage while rocket jumping, because Soldier has an innate 40% resistance to his own rockets. That would only do 18 damage to him. Very nice. Your health is increased permanently to 220, and you get a 4 health per second regeneration. You take 75% less knockback from enemies whenever you would take fall damage. If you land on someone's head, it does triple that fall damage to them. And your air control while blast jumping is tripled, which is very nice since you take way less damage from blast jumps now. All of this is granted passively. You don't need to be holding your secondary for it to be working. But also, like all of the banners, you can deal damage to fill up a rage meter. 1,680 damage to fully charge the meter. But when it's active for a full 30 seconds, you and all the people around you on your team have a speed boost, are healed for 35% of the damage they deal. Guaranteed mini crits have 35% more damage resistance to all damage and 50% resistance to sentry gun damage. Are immune to crit damage for 30 seconds. But I haven't even got to the best part yet. That was just the icing on top of the beautiful cake that was all the banners, those effects. The cherry on top is the base jumper. You get a parachute, Heavy. You hear me? A parachute. Probably the most overpowered weapon in the game. I would never use the shotgun. If this existed, I just forget that the shotgun even exists. I like to imagine that he has the base jumper, battalion's backup, buff banner, and conch all on his back at the same time, just like stacked on top of each other. And when he activates the charge, he reaches back, plays the conch, reaches back, plays the trumpet, then plays it again, because he has to activate each buff one at a time. Or, I mean, you just have one really big trumpet that the entire map can hear. This is like an Uber charge on something, because it lasts for 30 seconds. No one's going to care about Medic's Uber anymore. It's going to be all about Soldier's buff banner charge. Anyways, let's move on to the second last one for this video. We've got the Working Flare. Of course, on hit, sets people on fire, and it always crits people that are on fire. It does two things simultaneously on an alt fire. It detonates your flare, so you can do stuff like this, but it also sucks in fire. For every teammate you extinguish using this sucking, you get one guaranteed crit, kind of like Spy's primary, and it heals you for 20 health. Also, like the Melter of Men, it doesn't need ammo. Also, it's 50% faster. Instead of traveling at 2,000 hammer units per second, it goes at 3,000. Might make it a little bit easier to land your shots. Gets no random crits, but also you always crit people that are on fire, so that doesn't really matter. Something that is a problem. You get knocked back a lot less. Just for comparison, here's detonator jumping. A lot more. Also, like the detonator, you take 50% more self-inflicted damage, but it does do 60% less damage. So instead of doing 30, it would do 12. Since you take more self-damage, you actually take 18. The fact that it does 60% less damage makes it kind of suck for doing damage, but the fact that you can extinguish your teammates with it when you can't even air blast is kind of good. It's kind of the only praise I can say about it. We've got another 2-for-1 special with the Demo Man / Demo Knight. Of course, since it's the better one, we have to start with the shields. So let's take a look at the Splendid Targe Turner. Funny thing about the shields, the only downside of them is that you're not using the other ones. In fact, one of the things that provoked me to make these videos is playing and then thinking, man, I wish I was using this weapon instead. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, Heavy, because now you can use all of them at the same time, and I love that. It's especially powerful with Demo Knight, when you wish you could have the turning control of the Tide Turner, or the extra damage of the Splendid screen, or its faster recharge, or the just increased survivability of the Charge and Targe. You charge forward, get a guaranteed mini crit after a second, but if you go for long enough, that turns into a guaranteed crit. Take a look at the shields. What they all have is fire damage and explosive damage resistance. 50% fire damage resistance from the Charge and Targe, 20% from the Splendid screen, and then 15% from the Tide Turner. That's 85% fire damage resistance. So you don't take any afterburn damage. Pyro's Flamalgamation, Flamalgamate, it does 66% less afterburn damage, and then you have an 85% resistance to that. That's like 0.1 afterburn damage per tick. Would you still round that up to 1? Not to mention the flat 85% fire damage resistance. That's insane. Say goodbye to any pyros and any revved up heavies. Fire just isn't going to be affecting this man anymore. Oh, and 65% resistance to all explosive damage, except for self-inflicted explosion damage, because it's lame like that. I think after I do all these videos, I'm going to go into a deeper analysis of like the loadouts and the different situations you could get into. I could also redo some of my old videos of like maximum resistance and vulnerability. Demo Knight will be particularly vulnerable to bullet damage, and you will soon find out why when it comes to his melee. So instead of doing 50 damage on an impact, it does 85, and it recharges 50% faster, which is 8 seconds instead of 12 seconds. Not only that, full turning control while charging. Wow. Demo Knights are going to be much worse for anyone else. Also, melee kills refill 75% of your charge meter. Pretty sweet. But also, taking damage during your charge reduces the remaining charge time. I usually use a shield and then a grenade launcher just for those passive resistances and the extra mobility. This is like that, but on like steroids. This is like the equivalent of the Boots banner, but for Demo Knight. It's insane. But let's take a look at, normal Demo Man's secondary, the Sticky Bomb launchers. See if they can even compare to this beautiful shield. So Demo Man only has 2 different Sticky Bomb launchers. Well, unless you count stock. You have the Scottish Resistance and the Quickiebomb launcher. So you can use it to destroy enemy Sticky Bombs, which is shared by both the Quickiebomb launcher and the Scottish Resistance. So I don't know, it's twice as good at doing it. You get 6 more Sticky Bombs out at once, so instead of only being allowed to have 8 out, you can have 14. Stock only has 24 loaded, but with the Scottish Resistance, you have 36 reserve ammo. Also, it has a 25% faster firing speed. It's pretty noticeable. All of its bombs' maximum charge time is decreased down to 30%, so it's much faster to charge. I was lucky. Also, it does up to 35% more damage based on charge. So that did 98. And this will do 376. Definitely not because of a random crit, guys. Trust me. Alright, at maximum charge, it does 141. Yeah, 115. It's way better than stock. Now we get to the downsides. Sticky Bombs have a 0.6 second longer prime time. Scottish Resistance takes 0.8 seconds longer, but the Quickiebomb launcher actually takes 0.2 seconds less long. So that's only 0.6. So it's faster than the Scottish Resistance, but slower than stock by 0.6 seconds. It does do 15% less damage, same as the Quickiebomb launcher, but you can charge it up to do 35% more damage, which ends up doing more damage than stock, and charging up your bombs takes way less time. Now, the main problem comes in, it has a 50% smaller clip size of 4. So you can have 14 stickies out, but you have to shoot 4, reload 4, shoot 4, reload 4, like this. So that's how long it would take. The only thing that makes that kind of acceptable is the fact that it fires way faster. And I mean, at that point, once you have 4 out, that's enough to kill most classes, especially if you charge up your shots. I mean, 4 isn't bad, okay? But they all do 15% less damage. So, I mean, you do you guys, I guess. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Give me your criticisms, give me your ideas. Tell me what class you main, and tell me what class you would main if these weapons did exist. Leave a like, subscribe, become a channel member for only $3 a month, please. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.